Hello, this is a tutorial on how to play the Manic Street Preachers song 4 stone £7. It's in standard tuning and you'll not need a capo. Hope you enjoy. The introduction of the song goes a bit like this. What you want to do for that is at your first finger on the 5th of the D string and play that twice, and then put your ring finger on the 6th of the B and play that once. You then want to do that strumming pattern 5 times before moving your ring finger back 1 fret so that both fingers are on the 5th of their respective strings. So you get something like this. You then want to do that first riff again before going back to the second, but not doing the pattern, just hitting the strings. This next riff is sort of the backbone of the song, goes like this. You want to start it by hitting the 3rd on your E string twice, before hitting your 1st on your A string twice, and then hitting your 3rd on your D string twice. I'll go like this. You want to do that riff twice through before doing this riff. 3rd twice on your E string, and then 1st on your A string, pulling off to open. Altogether that sounds like this. For the second half of the riff, you want to do the same thing, but instead of going to the 3rd on your D string, you want to play your 2nd on your D string. So it'll sound like this. This next riff you may or may not want to play, depending on in what situation you're playing it. If you're playing it to a sort of backing track or to the song, you probably enjoy playing it. It's quite a simple, easy riff. But if you're in a band and you've only got one guitar player, you might want to leave this one out. It goes like this. So for this riff you want to play 3rd on your G twice, and then your 5th, and then your 6th, and then your 6th on your B. You then want to go backwards on that riff, so I'll go 6, 5, 3, all on your G string. So that'll sound like this. And you want to play that riff twice through. That'll sound like that. But on your last time, I want you to go 3rd, 5th, 6th on your G string, and altogether it'll sound like this. Then for the second half of that riff, you want to play, instead of the 6th on the B, the 5th on the B, and altogether with the first part should sound like this. And you want to sort of leave this 6th on your G ringing through the verse if you've got another guitar player in your band, but if not, you're going to want to go back to the from the second part of the intro. Going into the verses now, the bass and the guitar both play this backbone riff I was talking about earlier. The lyrics come in and oftentimes get quite bleak during the verses. During the latter half of the first verse, he describes his skin as like cling firm on bone, sort of showing that it was almost translucent without affinity. There's no like meat on his arms. It's showing how much he's been struggling with body dysmorphia and anorexia, which Richie Edwards, the writer of this song, did struggle with a lot. There's many references throughout the Holy Bible album that 4 stone £7 is taken from, about his depression and his anorexia and his eating disorders. He was in sort of like a rehabilitation centre for people with anorexia and eating disorders for a long time while this album was being recorded, which led to his lyrical contribution being the only musical way he inputted to the album. Going into the chorus now, you want to play an A minor, and then a D minor, then a G, and into a C. After that, you want to get into a B shape and pick the A string, then the G string, then the D string. You want to do that 5 times before moving to your E minor chord and playing the same pattern. Altogether, that'll sound like this. During this B and E minor picking pattern, there's a lyric that says, "I want to be so skinny that I rot from view." I think this is sort of Richie saying that he knows what he's doing is wrong. That's why he's used rot, which obviously has like negative connotations, makes you think of food getting wasted. But by him professing that he wants to waste away, sort of oxymoronic, makes it sound like a good thing. He doesn't view it as a problem for him, but I think he still acknowledges that he is rotting away, sort of like wasted food, but he's sort of like wasting his life away. Going to the second half of the chorus now, let's play your 6th on the A, your 3rd on the D, and open on the G. That'll sound like this. You then want to play your 5th on the A, your 4th on the D, and open on the G, and that'll sound like this. You then want to play your 3rd on the A, and your 1st on the D, and open on the G again. You then want to go back to that second position with the 5th on the A, and the 4th on the D, and open G. And that'll sound like this. Put all those 4 riffs together, and it sounds like this. You then want to repeat that through the chorus until it reaches the end where the solo begins. Underneath that little riff, there's these chords. It goes D sharp, D, C, and back to D again. During the second half of the chorus, there's some quite interesting lyrics as well. He starts off the first part of the chorus by saying, "I want to walk in the snow and not leave a footprint." This shows that he don't think he'll ever be skinny enough or think himself beautiful until he can walk on the snow without altering its appearance. In the second half of that part, he changes leave a footprint to soil its purity. So this shows that he thinks as soon as he touches something, it becomes impure. After there's a chorus, there's a small guitar solo. What he plays is quite unintelligible. It's a bit too distorted to figure out exactly what he plays. I've figured out a few licks, but mostly when they play it live, James Dean Bradfield, the lead guitar player, tends to improvise in the G minor pentatonic scale. But on the recording, he opens up with the bend on the G on the 5th, and then releases and pulls off to the 3rd. That'll sound like this. He then does some rapid hammer-ons and pull-offs on the 3rd and the 5th of the D string, and ends on the 5th. He then improvises on the thinnest 3 strings for a while, before going down to the 12th on the G, then the 11th on the B, then the 13th, then the 12th, and then the 11th on the E. So altogether that sounds like this. After that part, you want to play the exact same riff as you did on the E on the B string. So you want to go 13, 12, 11. Then go into your 13th on the G, and then your 12. You then want to get into this little power chord type shape, where your first finger is on the 12th of the G, and your ring finger is on the 14th of the B. And you want to play this pattern. So what you're doing there is just staccato playing the things and muting the strings in between the picks. So going. He then plays the 13th, 12th and the 11th on the E before finishing on the 13th of the B and going back to the backbone riff I was talking about earlier. After the guitar solo, it goes back into the verse. Then the chorus. And so on before going to the second part of the chorus. And so on. But this time, you want to end the chorus by hitting C sharp power chord. So for the outro of the song, after you've played this C sharp power chord, you want to move it back 1 fret so it becomes a C power chord. You then want to take your little finger off the 5th of the G and put it on the 4th of the G with your middle finger. And once you're in this shape, you want to pick it through, going A, then G, then D, then B. You want to play that part twice and it'll sound like this. After you've done that, then go to the 3rd on your D and the 2nd on your G and leave your bottom 2 strings open. And then for the next shape, you want to move that shape down 2 frets. When you're in these last 2 patterns, you want to pick it through, going D, then B, then G, then E. That'll sound like this. So altogether so far we have this. He plays that once before he starts singing. He then does it twice when the vocals start, and ends by going into a A sus2 chord and doing the same picking pattern as the last two shapes. That'll sound like this. But he picks that through once, then goes to a full A minor chord doing the same picking pattern, back to the A sus2, back to the A minor. He repeats that 3 or 4 times before ending on an A minor on the final time. So altogether it sounds like this. While this picky part's going up at the top of the neck, there's another guitar that plays some higher pitched riffs. When the A sus2 and A minor part played, this 12th string is bent to the 13th and then released when the A sus2 comes back in, and bent back up to the 13th when the A minor comes in. During the last progression of those chords I explained earlier, this riff's played. And what you're playing there is your 15th on your E, then your 13th, then your 12th, then your 13th on your B, then your 12th again. And then when the A sus2 part comes in again, you want to go back to that riff I just explained there. And that's the end of the song. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, hope you found it helpful. Thank you.